Hello and welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos, a D&D podcast set in the world of Fielor. A couple of quick orders of business at the start of the podcast. As usual, you can support the show by sharing the podcast or liking and rating it on your podcatcher of choice or giving us a thumbs up on YouTube. Additionally, last week we forgot in the chaos, but last week's episode went out around about the same time as Jake's birthday, so he has birthday inspiration from that. Additionally, Mitch mocked up in between sessions the other night something for us that was of Caius, in celebration of Caius's real-world equivalent birthday. Whether or not you guys get to see that, I don't know, but he has birthday inspiration for that. Whether or not that is accessible is up to Mitch. If you want to support the podcast, you can a bit more than by just subscribing or rating. There is also the Patreon and the Redbubble. The Redbubble has a few bits of cool merch in there. Bits of artwork that you can get on shirts, water bottles, all stickers, books, all kinds of things. Or the Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes as well as DM notes and homebrew that I have made up for not just the podcast at this point, but also the general world of Fielor. So, without further ado, let's jump into another episode of Wyverns and Weirdos. So, where we last left off, the party fled to the Warding Wilds after an ambush by the Wizards of the Ruins in Ross's theatre. There was an incredible chase sequence where they were chased down by these monstrous creatures that some of the Wizards' soldiers were mounted upon, and the party valiantly fought them off to escape into the wilds. There they started resting up and tending to wounds, while Bertie and Caius went off and had a bit of a discussion about the wild magic and other matters under the auspices of gathering food. They then proceeded to return to camp without food. So, we rejoin the party as Caius and Bertie are rejoining the party.
Well, as Caius is sort of making his way back into camp, he's taking a little bit to compose himself. And he's going to wander up to Anya.
She's still in the tree, by the way.
Yeah, no worries. He's going to wander up to the tree where Anya is. Just be like, excuse me, Anya.
Caius, is everything okay?
Well, I was a bad choice to go and forage. I didn't find anything, and I thought maybe you would be better suited to something like that.
Okay. Do you want to stay here and keep lookout, or I can show you if you want? Apologies. Sorry, had a little alarm go off there. Let's ignore that and keep going.
Well, I think someone should probably stay watch. Although, perhaps when we're in a less precarious situation, you could teach me how to forage better.
If that's what you would like, you can come on a hunt with me.
Okay, thank you.
Caius?
Yes?
She kind of, it looks like she is having a lot of difficulty, like, she sort of opens her mouth and closes it a couple of times, and then she's like, I'm scared too. And I don't know if that helps, but I think it's okay to be here. Anyway, yes, I will go food. You take care of the others.
I will. Thank you.
And Anya sort of swings herself down, kind of picks up her bow where she had it resting against like the trunk where the joint of the branch was, and with her other arm just sort of swings down and then lands. And she probably walks in the direction of where she can hear Bertie's footsteps, and approaches him.
I guess I'll just quickly mention, so Caius kind of like rushed on ahead, even if he like took some time to try and compose himself. Bertie was trailing quite far behind, and so a little word picture, I guess. He was kind of like blinking very quickly with his ears pressed sort of low back against his head, looking somewhere between downcast and actively distraught, and then sort of like starting to breathe less and shake more. And I'd like listeners to imagine for extra flavor that the leaves sprouting from his hair kind of start to crack with ice. And then sort of at a certain point of distance, he like slows to the point that he stops once he's almost back in view of the campsite. And then kind of like shaking more, sort of like desperately reaches into his backpack, which like, because it's a handy haversack, and immediately shifts a bottle to his hand. And he kind of is like, gets a bit more agitated. He drops that back in, tries again, and another different bottle like basically goes into his hand, which he then just tosses some distance into the forest. And then getting more agitated, he kind of reaches into the little blue bag at his hip, which is the same one Caius got him a year ago. And he takes out the same small wand he was briefly contemplating, if listeners remember, before he confessed to Caius at the ball the day before. And so he's kind of still on the verge of a mild panic attack, but he presses this wand briefly to his temple and closes his eyes for a moment before removing it, and almost immediately his posture straightens. The leaves in his hair shake free of ice and sprout probably little white flowers that would be like mock orange blossoms in our world, and his ears prick up more with a sudden burst of something as he takes a deep breath and much more calmly strides to rejoin the clearing, probably as Anya strides out.
So
when you cast that, Bertie, can you please roll me a d20?
Sure. 17.
That is fine.
Excellent. So probably that magic like warps a little bit, but that doesn't matter, because even if Bertie is more concerned because he can feel it, then he just calms down. He's fine. But yeah.
I will also ask you to roll me a d10.
A d10. Okay. 1.
Okay. I mean, with your passive perception, you hear what almost sounds like somewhere between like bovine and monstrous, like sniffing around. But this doesn't bother you.
Anya,
Doesn't bother.
It doesn't bother you for reasons that we are both aware of.
Anya approaches. She would have been able to hear a fair bit of what had gone on from a fair way away, just because of the nature of who she is.
Yeah. The bovine sniffs are a bit far out of your zone. They're a bit
I
further.
just assumed that's magic bullshit, so I was not focusing on that whatsoever. And or Bertie. What happens between players and DMs outside of podcast is none of my business. Thank you. So Anya, she sort of she's put her bow back to where she usually holsters it on her back, and she's sort of approaches Bertie, probably a little bit quietly, but when she's close enough to him, she's like, if you're trying for hunting, throwing things is probably going to scare away any of the game.
Oh yeah, no, that was pretty stupid of me. I just got mad, but I'm fine now. Man, yeah, sorry about that. You're the pro after all. Cool. Actually, that's awesome that I've run into you first, Anya. I think I'll take the first watch tonight. You know, are you going out hunting? Probably better than me, I imagine.
Come for a walk. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I was thinking a watch would be great because I can imagine what everything feels like for you. I bet he's probably by this point, if Anya is walking, he's just pattering on after her. I'm sure this is probably not a great place for you right now. And also, you can spend time with Rook, and, spend some quality time with her. So I'll take the first watch. But yeah, sure, let's go for a walk. How can I help?
Bertie, I may not. I still see things.
Yeah, no.
So Caius spoke to me before I
Okay, cool.
came over.
Good.
You don't have to justify taking the first watch to me.
Okay, cool.
Of course.
What did you say in quick question, I suppose?
It was less what he said and more how he was.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, understandable.
He just asked me to do the hunt, which is fine, but
Okay, yeah, cool. Cool. Well. Good. That's good, actually. Well, I don't know how helpful I can be, but I've been wanting to, hang out with you a bit more. We haven't been able to catch up. It's been a crazy day. 2 days.
Bertie,
We're bullet time again. My God.
I could hunt in my sleep. I did not ask you to come to help me.
Oh, thank God. Because you are much more equipped.
And I'm sure you would know this as well as I. You would be more of a hindrance to.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true. Yeah. I'm glad we both know that.
But I am aware of my capabilities, so we will have food, and I will get to spend time with you. So, yeah, it's been with the ball,
Yeah, no.
And speaking of,
Yeah.
we want to talk about it now, but what happened at the ball with
Oh, with like the attack that happened, or
No, Bertie, I was there for the attack. You
Yeah, no, I finally told him. Probably not the best timing, probably quite possibly the worst timing, but well, I had to do it. You know, I've been thinking about it for months, so
I know.
I was gonna tell you, but I was kind of like, if I tell anyone that I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna chicken out. So I just did it. So, yeah, it I still don't know how to think about how that went. You've got more long-term experience than me, but yeah, he didn't reject me, so that was interesting. That was one of the things I was expecting. So, well, I don't know. I just told him a lot about how I feel about him and how it's different to how we've been hanging out, how we've been spending so much time together, because we've been spending a lot of time together. Well, which you know. And, I told him I love him, probably. So that was probably more than what I'd rehearsed, but there we go. And he just kind of said, oh, a lot. But he also said that, like, he wasn't, like, it made sense, and he said, oh, well, I want to hang out with you a lot of the time, so he kind of went really quiet again, and then I got really upset, because you know how anxious I get, and then he asked me if I'd like to go out to dinner. And that's, yeah, so, you know, to talk, and, yep. So I don't know, he said that nothing should change, he's still cool holding my hand, that we should just do dinner sometimes, but obviously that's not able to happen now because of many things, but primarily because everything's going to shit again, so, which I'm not mad about, it's fine, this is the priority stuff, and you know, I kind of upset him back then, so worst timing. Anyway, my God, what a fun, this is a fun forest. Oh boy, what time do you reckon it is?
It's
right now.
During dusk, which is fine, but Bertie,
True.
that was very brave. And I don't know whether it makes much of a difference, but I'm proud of you.
Betty kind of like, notably, like, he hasn't been getting, like, he sounds uncomfortable, but he hasn't been getting more, like, super agitated, even though, like, he sounds like he would be. But he kind of, like, when Anya says that, he kind of, like, touches, like, her wrist gently, and then kind of, like, slides his hand down to lace his fingers together with hers. He's like, it makes a big difference.
She squeezes his hand and she's like, it's funny because living as long as we do, I think a lot of people assume that we would be patient.
Yeah.
But short-lived races there. We've had so much time to unpack the stuff that comes along with being, well, different and, well, what is normal, but waiting for someone to figure themselves out one way or another. It doesn't matter how long you live, it hurts and it's hard. But
You-
you've laid everything out, Bertie.
yeah,
And you've
that's
made
it.
everything clear. And I don't know Caius, but I know enough that when you're straightforward with him, that's when things are good. So
I know. Thanks. I know it must be super annoying who's talking about him all the time, but I mean, it helps talking to Ross, but like it's like you say, it's you understand what it's like being elf, and well, I never actually asked. We don't have to talk about that now because I know it's tough talking about it, but how did you and Bryn get together? Did you wait? Or was it fast? I mean, you were both, well, you know, not the short lifespan kind of thing you were worrying about then, and
it's
because I know
funny.
it's slow with Rook, so
Yeah. It's funny because with Bryn, it was almost like it was the natural progression of things. We knew each other young, like young for human standards, young. And
Yeah.
we were close then, and we knew how important we were to each other, so it was almost like nothing needed to be said. Things just changed.
yeah,
And
it's
like we talked about things, but we didn't talk about the change from what we were before and what we became, because it was like when the water of a river flows into the sea. It's slow and all at once.
Yeah.
But not everything is like that, and not everyone can be.
I know. I don't mind waiting. I know it's the same with you. Not with me, with Rook, but you know.
No.
Yeah.
I know. It being willing to wait and being capable of waiting doesn't take away how it feels to wait.
Yeah.
Especially
sucks.
when you don't know what might happen on the other end.
Yeah, that's it. I don't really get the chance to have a dinner now, and just a stupid thing. He's really stressed about the magic everywhere, because you know I've talked a bit about what it was like, so I'm stressed about it. I'm pretty sure I know you would be. Betty like squeezes her hand a bit tighter, but like I don't know, and just a lot of stuff. So I kind of I tried to like do a stupid thing to like cheer him up, but that was with magic, and so that upset him, and now he ran off without me. So you know how I have problems with that, but that's fine. That's fine. It'll be okay. But yeah, don't mention that to him.
Yes, I'll mention it to him over the tea and biscuits we have every morning. Bertie, don't be silly.
I know. You guys, I'm glad you guys get a lot better than before. Because you both mean a lot to me, so it's really good. But
He's important to you, and you're important to me, and that's why I don't
Yeah.
like talking about him.
yeah, that's it.
Plus, it's nice to get to know him in a weird sort of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I don't always see the best of him, and he doesn't always see the best of me. but you do. And
To think that, I mean, I see bad things from him and bad things from you, but I also see the good thing. Really worth it. And like, the bad things aren't so bad in the long run, I think. But who knows? Maybe eventually Rook will like me more. What do you reckon?
It might be a bit of a slow burn on that one.
That's understandable. I am quite annoying. Actually, while we're out here, I did want to talk to you real quick about her, actually. This isn't about her not disliking me, just not being as, I'm not her favorite person. I'm not the sort of, You're
both very different. Yes.
We're very different. Absolutely. Precisely. So, the meeting we had this morning, with the council and everything, Rook was really confident there. I mean, I don't know, because you were near her, so you might be able to feel it, but she looked really chill there, and she arrived with one of the convocation members at the ball, and this is stupid, but did you know she's been working for the convocation lately, a lot? Caius told me she mentioned it, because he tells me a lot of things, and I figured you knew, but now I guess I'm starting to realize how little we still know about each other, and I don't know, I was just curious, I guess. I mean, I know she wants to kill the wizards that killed Amar and everything, but I guess I was just wondering if she was do you know if she's on a job as well?
I've helped her with some of the work she was doing with the convocation.
Oh, cool, yeah.
One of the main ones, when somewhere basically warded at your house to store some things. We've been there were artifacts that had been stolen by a genie from many different places. I know Rook has been working with the convocation to get back those that were significant to her family and her heritage.
That's understandable. Yeah, makes sense.
I may have, once we killed the genie, taken a bunch to return to their homes as well. So I've been working with Athena to do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good. That's good, though.
But after that job, while we saw each other and helped each other within the informational capacities that we had, I don't trust the convocation.
No.
And Rook takes them with a grain of salt too, but she needed to work closer to them, and I'm always here if she ever wants to help, but I do not want to ever get in the way of her.
Yeah.
With the things she needs to do. So
I know what you mean.
So I know a little, but she can be trusted, is what I'm saying.
Oh, of course. I didn't want to imply that. I was just...
No.
I guess with all this stupid shit with Sam and all that, it's just... I don't know. It's good to know what's going on.
I think we, in our own weird ways, all trust each other now, but it doesn't make it easier when we don't know. So.
No, that's it. I was just, curious, and You know Rook much more intimately than I do.
I think the convocation member she has been working with has helped her know how to deal with the people that we have to deal with to get what we want. But she's still the same Brooke. Just
I know.
Knows when not to be.
That's a good idea, I think. Yeah.
It's a skill I could probably do with, but the problem is I don't really want to learn.
I think it's understandable, honestly. And like, I mean, the reverse is worse because I mean, like, that's kind of, as I've been telling you all year, that's been the problem with Caius. It's been kind of like unlearning all of that. So, Rook using it tactically is a good idea, but if that's something that you'd get too much practice in, that's also bad. So, yeah.
Bertie, just on that.
Yeah.
With the unlearning.
Yeah.
Caius makes mistakes sometimes, yes, and missteps sometimes, yes.
Yeah.
It's only natural and it happens, and you would never hold that against him, yes?
No. Of course not.
Maybe commit yourself that kindness.
Regardless. Oh, so I guess even though the thing happened earlier on, the little like flowers, they were like kind of just forcibly there, pop, and then just gone. But and he kind of like makes like a little like, Anya can't see it, but she could probably like feel him tense because he's upset. But then he's like, I know, I'll keep working on it. I'll keep working. Thank you for reminding me. And thanks for this. It's, I guess, I know you got to do some hunting soon, so that we got something to wait.
Darby, can roll something for Anya to have just been passively sort of stalking something as we've been talking?
Yeah.
I'm happy to roll it at disadvantage.
Just like shoots a tear.
Yeah, because I just want her to turn around and shoot it.
In
That
fact,
was so
at
funny.
this point, you have kind of picked up on there was the sound.
I'll
there
roll
was
a
the
survival. I'll do it.
Oh no, there was funnily enough, the creatures. As you're moving, you notice this odd smell that you kind of recognize as that of a catoblepus.
A what?
A catoblepus.
And how do we spell that, Darby?
Catoblepas. They are aggressive creatures.
That's both and delightful. Giraffe cow.
Yeah. So they
Cow.
stink with a stench that smells like a mix of death, swamp gas, and skunk musk. And strangely enough, you are aware that if you can deal with the poisons, it's actually not bad meat underneath.
Cool. Would she know how dangerous they are?
I'll
roll a survival or
roll me a nature check.
Oh, okay. That's she's less good at that. I think.
mean, you still have expertise
Oh no, never
in
mind.
it.
It's still insane. It's fine.
Just not quite as insane as survival.
So raw is 20, but she has that. Oh, not raw, but like without the thing she has where anything she's proficient in goes up. So it's a 22.
22. Okay. Yeah, so you're aware of cataplepuses. You're aware they can be quite aggressive. And they are somewhat tough, but not incredibly. They might have given you some trouble in your younger days, but they'd be nothing compared to some of the stuff you've dealt with in recent years. And yeah, and for that you would probably know the correct way to like prepare it so that it's not going to poison everyone.
Cool. She turns around and shoots an arrow in the distance that she can hear it.
Okay. Roll to hit with advantage because it cannot see you from here.
Wonderful. That's very good news for me.
Because it means you get sneak attack.
Yeah. So that is 21 to hit.
A 21 will hit.
Wonderful. I'm glad. So what do we got? So there's 1d8 plus 8 raw. So 12 of just the wild bow damage, plus the 2d10 radiant, plus the 6d6 sneak attack, which is so 30 plus the 12, so 42 points of damage.
42. So you let loose this arrow and it flies through, hits the cataplepus. It's still standing but greatly wounded. It turns around and does it see you in the distance? Yes, it does. I rolled a natural 20. And it begins...
Anya sort of leans across to Bertie very quickly and she's like, this may take a couple of hits, but it's good meat, promise.
Okay.
I
you still have a bonus action before it begins to charge.
Oh, shit. I forgot about those. She's not going to leave Bertie to just be hit. So maybe she's going to... Oh, you're trying to put me in a trap, Darby. I see you. Nah, she's just gonna be there. She might sort of step out of the way and sort of pull Bertie out of the way of where it will charge at.
Okay. So the cataplepus is going to charge, and you see from its from its mouth, it opens up its mouth in this horrific roar. And as it gets within about 30 feet of you, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw as this sickly green beam comes blasting towards you.
That's a 16.
That just makes it.
Wonderful.
So you still take half damage, which will be, so that's 37, so half to 18 points of damage.
Do I have something?
Dex saves you're thinking of.
Yeah, I was thinking there was something else I have, but...
No.
Can I uncanny dodge this? Because it's just when an attacker you see hits you with an attack.
This isn't an attack per se, it's an ability.
That
it's yeah. I think it's ambiguous enough that I'll allow it. So yeah, you can halve it again.
So that's 9 points instead.
Yeah, so 9 points of necrotic damage. And yeah. So that's its turn. And so it is about 30 feet away from the two of you right now.
Wonderful. Anya is going to bonus action hide and then attack it.
All right.
Again.
I don't think you can roll low enough to not hide from it. So
yeah. So the higher of that to advantage. That advantage.
Yeah, that hits. That hits. I don't know if you're capable of missing this without a natural one.
Wonderful. So the raw damage for that is 15 plus the 2d10 and the 6d6. So 15 plus 29, so 44 points of damage.
Okay, so you hit it with this arrow and it just collapses to the forest floor.
Cool. She's going to take out her +3 dagger and just to be safe, toss it at its head.
Right.
So that's a 30 to hit.
Yep. Hits.
And an additional 1d4 plus 8, so 9 damage.
Yeah. It's dead.
Dead?
It's
Yep,
dead.
Cool. She just wanted to double check.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. It could have just fallen. She can only hear.
Yeah.
And it smells like death anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you did that super fast, which is not surprising. It's been a while since I've seen you kill like this. Wow, my god, that thing stinks.
Yeah, it's not the greatest. It's gonna smell a little weird here. Do you have any cloth that you do not like in your haversack?
I got a bedroll. I don't even know why I packed it actually, because, yeah, hang on. And Bertie will like reach into his backpack and take that out. Like, okay, cool. And I don't know how that's gonna taste. Kai's got some spices that he could probably use if he brought them with him. So maybe you can ask him about that.
The meat underneath does not smell.
Oh, good.
Going to, I guess you want me to roll a survival or something, because she's gonna get the good meats and wrap them up in this and leave the rest of it to the forest.
Yes, but before you do that, I would like you to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Fuck me.
Because of how horrid this stench is.
That's an 11.
That is an 11. So you are poisoned. So it's not a lasting poison. It's just while you're within the range of the corpse. But that does mean you will have disadvantage on the check to harvest the meat.
Anya sort of makes a gagging, like it sort of starts gagging a little bit, and she's like, "Oh, okay. But you just stay back there."
Oh, I just sniff something
That
somewhere in here.
might be best. Okay, and survival?
Yes. Survival works.
Cool. So the lowest she can roll is a 27, by the way, which is what she got.
So even with
my
disadvantage, even with the nauseating smell, this is perfectly a simple thing to do for you.
Cool.
Terrifying skill on your harvest.
She harvests a good amount of meat that she knows will keep for like a little bit, once cooked and prepped properly, and rolls it up in the bag and probably is a little bit straining, trying to carry it.
But he does spray some perfume at it. Or at least in Anya's face direction. It's the perfume that he has.
Okay.
It won't make the meat more charismatic, but you know.
And she sort of turns back once she's picked it up and sort of heaved it over her shoulder. She turns back to the creature and she's like, "Thank you for your contribution to the continuation of our lives and our mission. I will leave you to the forest so you can become food for the creatures here and continue the cycle." And then she turns to Bertie and she's like, let's go. It stinks. Let's
Okay.
go."
Yeah. Let's go. Cool. Awesome. Well, just real quick before we go back to the camp, and Bertie's like tries to like really uselessly like help her carry like the lightest part of the meat. Like he's like carrying like he's holding onto like a bit of the fabric or something like that. But he's also kind of like keeping his body close to her so she knows exactly where he is. He's like, real quick, don't tell everyone else, but I wanted to check with you, I guess. Us getting found out right away back there, do you think this means the mission's failed? Caius does, but well, you know how he gets. He has had the axe hovering over his head all his life, so he gets, you know.
Bertie,
But what do you think?
we are once again walking into the eye of the storm. The only difference is we now have notoriety and we know the storm is there. And we see everywhere the storm is.
That's true.
It's okay that the storm can see us back.
Yeah, I know.
It makes sense.
I know.
It doesn't make it easier. It just means we have to be more careful.
That's it. I agree. I thought I wanted to know your opinion because, you've been through a lot of that stuff, so you know how I care about what you. Well,
Anya, she has this soft sort of little smile that she's hiding, sort of turned away from Bertie. But she's like, I thank you.
No problem. Thank you. And I guess for me, I'm scared about all this, but I gotta believe we can do this because otherwise things will be real bad. And if nothing else, I mentioned this a little bit, but I'm worried Ross and Newman won't want to pull out of things even if this mission fails. We gotta keep them safe. And I know you and I will.
They were here for us when we needed it.
Yes. It's only fair.
It's only fair.
Yeah. Thanks for being here with me, Anya. I really appreciate this.
It's good to have a friend who gets it.
Thank you. I might still keep watch. I don't know what Caius wants to do. I think I've got an idea, maybe, though. What might cheer him up. So, I'll keep watch once we get back camp. If you need help cooking anything, Caius actually knows how to do a few recipes if no one else has got time. But if you need lots of help, let me know.
I think the biggest help would just be to keep Newman away from the kitchen.
That's a very good idea, especially considering a thing that he has now that I can't tell you about.
Not at all completely concerning to me whatsoever. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Absolutely not. And you know what? Well, let's. I actually have a couple of bottles in my bag, so why don't we share one on the way back? Hey.
She frowns a little bit, but then she thinks about the day she's had. Like, you know me, pull one up.
Absolutely. We walk back.
They they share swigs while passing it back and forth in his fucking meat. I'm just imagining looking at the creature. It's just this huge slab of meat.
So,
Good cut.
yeah. So, is there anything else over the course of this evening that people would like to cover?
No. I was just going to say, Caius wanted to, if we are having some form of semblance of dinner when everyone is together, Caius would just be sort of getting very awkward and sort of fidgety, and he'd start to open his mouth to speak and then stop a couple of times, and really sort of has sort of a furrowed brow and almost like crossed eyes, like he's really thinking hard. And he'll just very abruptly just sort of stand up in the middle of where we're all having dinner. Just be like, "Hi, I just wanted to very quickly, while we're all here, I've been trying not to bottle things up anymore, so I just wanted to tell everyone how I was feeling, because communication is important, I've been told. I am nervous and uncomfortable with the effects that this forest has on magic. It reminds me of when my magic made me almost kill my fiancé. Thank you." And he's going to sit back down and just sort of breathe and go, "Nope, I don't think it helped." Then he'll just start eating again.
I believe perhaps the best course of action would be for everyone to sort of keep magic on the down low. I mean, obviously, if it's necessary, by all means, but I mean, for the safety of yourself and everyone here as well, I'm planning on keeping it to a need to use basis, which would be a little bit strange because I use it so often. But is everyone else okay with that? And I hope that puts you at ease, Caius, if, less events happen because of this.
Caius just sort of nods awkwardly.
Anya, she had, throughout Caius's speech was a little bit just continuing to eat her food very pointedly and stiff, minding her business. And then as Newman pipes up, she's just kind of not to take cues from Caius, but I guess in the interest of being upfront, this place fucking terrifies me. And the magic feels weird, and I don't like how weird the magic feels. That being said, and I know this is very rich coming from me, given what we went through last year, mistakes will happen and slip-ups will happen. And I think it's important that we work together and don't punish each other for it. Because we're all kind of a little bit magic now, which is scary enough on its own. So yes, Meat's good. Thanks, Bertie, for helping.
Newman
She goes
didn't
back
say
to
anything.
eating very pointedly and awkwardly.
Newman didn't
just
say
jumped
anything
off.
because he took a bite of meat just as Anya started talking and was like trying to down it as quickly as possible to try and respond, but did not get it in time, and then sort of was just like, I can't really say. I'll at this moment thumbs up. Maybe like a once he had his food completely in his mouth, maybe like a silent pause.
Important. Is it actual applause? Is their hand contact, or is it just a little silent applause?
Well, I guess it's like just naturally it's quite padded. So yeah, a little bit on the silent side.
Okay. But is there paw-to-paw contact is what I'm asking.
Yes.
Cool. So
It wasn't a pause.
Observe your encouragement.
Please excuse my abhorrible pun.
Ross is like, thank you so much, Caius, for sharing that. I do feel like it is worth stating again, not to minimize the issues we all have. I know that almost half the party have issues with wild magic. She tries not to, but kind of does glance her eyes over Bertie as well. But it is, again, I will not be using magic unless we absolutely need to, but it is worth remembering that wild magic is not an all-encompassing terror. These woods have lived here for thousands of years. Apart from the wizards, they've never really hurt anyone. So I think we can, work through this as a team, but there is space to learn to appreciate the magic in here and not just be scared of it. Magic is magic. It is just what we do with it that matters. Anyway, are we all having a wonderful meal? Yes. Thank you, Bertie and Anya.
Anya, while Ross had been talking, and as she was saying, takes a couple of deep breaths and looks a little bit eased by that.
It's a bit weird, but it smells like bad cheese. It's really stinky.
Yeah.
Is Newman familiar with that?
Roll me a nature check.
I'm going nature. I don't think that's one I've ever done before. Probably not. That's a 12.
Yeah, it's not overly familiar to you.
That's fine. Oh, well, yeah, whatever it is, I guess, first time for everything. Here's hoping we can get some tastier stuff. Not that I'm
It's
very
like,
fussy.
no, it's tasty. Shut up, Newman. Because it doesn't have mayonnaise.
Exactly.
Anya says, like the why have I forgotten the name of literally every continent in our D&D world right now? Kras. It's like the durian from Kras.
Okay. Yes.
Cut a bit.
I knew it tasted familiar at the same
I've
time.
smelled these creatures before, but I didn't know that they were edible.
Oh yeah.
Nice work on this.
And yeah, Newman just continues to eat. No more
Dousing it.
Ross would
Trying
like
to
to.
keep the sound away from Anya.
Ross would like to vibe check the atmosphere of this party. Dinner.
Okay, I guess. I guess insight check.
General insight. Oh no, what was that? Yikes. That is it.
We're uncomfy.
Yeah, no, Newman's pretty at peace, but he does occasionally look over to the tree where he casted that dome of essentially pop-up camp, and then shows signs of like regret and like, gosh, I was so stupid. As you might remember, he walked out of it as soon as he casted it, which cancels the spell. That's about it. That's the only thing that he's being real agitated about. But apart from that, he's pretty chill.
Rook's looking kind of like contemplative and uncomfortable, and she's like trying to like quietly like check in on Anya during that talk. Really gave her hand a squeeze.
Anya would have started all of it looking wildly uncomfortable, but now she looks only mildly uncomfortable. And she's probably like very appreciative, showing appreciative signs to Rook. Yeah.
Caius is hard to read.
Okay. And Bertold?
Bertie probably, I assume, because we're at dinner now, must have assisted Anya carrying stuff back. Prep would have happened, and then he would have been like at the perimeter most of the time. He's sitting probably not like notably away from everyone else, but he has been sitting very quietly, maybe closer to Anya, but like away from people, and he has been quite. His expressions were quite schooled. She was probably paying attention to Caius while Caius was talking, but he did look like when other people were talking as well. But that's the general vibe. He's just sitting there with his expression quite schooled. He hasn't been eating. He's been like pushing the meal around in his plate. That's all.
And Sam Darbolt?
Sam is. He seems mildly uncomfortable, but not as uncomfortable as he has been since like everything.
Happy we're not currently bullying him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So the general aura is not great. The vibes aren't great of this party. Ross is observing all this. She does take particular note of Bertie. It's like, that is a conversation to have in a minute. And she also takes particular note of Caius and is like, ooh, should probably have a conversation with him at some point. And then she's gonna kind of clap her hands and go, so Newman, you have a dragon?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I helped you build parts of that and I didn't know it was happening. What?
Yeah, I sort
What's
of
the
did it in
goal?
a very abstract way. Yeah, it was a lot of you were really helping with the prototypes essentially, and then I didn't want to waste material, so maybe that's why none of it looks familiar. But yeah, no, it's I mean, I guess technically I have a dragon, but it's more so Zoot can be a dragon now if he so wants. And it all comes and fits in your pocket as he reaches into his pocket and brings out a miniature robot dragon.
Right.
Dragon to go, so just
And that's what you've been doing for a year.
It's one of the many things I've been doing, actually. Another thing is, I actually have been working on the armor itself. I've been testing it, seeing what it's capable of, and I actually made a bit of a mistake. Ended up damaging the armor quite badly, which actually made it improve. I think I unlocked something in the armor.
Is that what all that glowing was from the spare room that one time?
Yeah.
You
remember, it's not in the spare room. It's technically not. It's in, my space, where any damage that occurs will only be temporary in that space, and no damage will be suffered to the spare room, except for maybe like the dust that I sweep into there every now and then. But yeah, nothing to worry about. All precautionary measures were taken.
But you felt no need to share this with the class, with the house, with the party? And she gestures at everyone.
You all sort of get how I can be sometimes when I've got a project in mind. I just stick my head in it and I don't come out for a couple of days. Like that time on the airship, for example. As he gestures to the rest of the party.
Anya shrugs and goes, "Not my business."
But yeah, it's just, sometimes I just need the time by myself, and I guess I don't necessarily think it's that big of a deal, I guess, and I sort of wanted the dragon to be a surprise. As for the armor, I didn't think it was that big of a deal at the time, so I guess I must have put it in the back of my head.
The dragon's really cool, Newman. You were surprising. You did a good job.
Yeah, I think it is a big deal and a good surprise.
Yeah, I'm just glad Zoot Zoot can help out more, and Zoot Zoot is glad he could help more. So he was very happy with today. He he was actually quite thrilled with it. I think it's not every day a little tiny robot gets to be in a massive dragon fight hundreds of meters above a city.
I don't think even Kira could have pulled that off.
I mean, it's mainly thanks to everyone else that we got away. Like, as fast as Zoot Suit is, they were still faster and catching up and flanking. And if it wasn't for everyone with their abilities and their weapons, and your wand as well, Ross, like, you guys did some really, really big damage and basically allowed us to get away. And you too, Caius, as well. That stunt you pulled off scared the absolute crap out of me, but was incredible.
Yes, sorry about that. Yes. I've been doing a little bit of practice, and I probably should have mentioned that that's something that I can do.
It's all good. Like, I basically trust all of these crazy things you do at this point. I've seen you do some absolutely ludicrous things, and you always come out on top. So I basically just gotten to the stage where I'm concerned, but trust that you'll be okay. You seem to know what you're doing.
Actually, and Rook kind of like goes and like spins to face Bertie and is looking very serious. Speaking of such, what on Fierlor was that leaping about and stabbing people, Bertie? That was incredible. Kind of like killed like half a dozen people in like 6 seconds.
So when Rook turns to him, Bertie's ears like flick up like instantly. He like shrinks it even more. He's already been looking very subdued, but then his like entire face just blushes blue, and then he kind of like looks down at the meal that he hasn't been eating. He's like, and his ears like go back to sort of that midpoint. He's like, oh well, I've been practicing, and well, it's technically a spell, but I've been trying to get faster at stuff, and well, this helped a lot. And he kind of like pulls the sleeve up a little bit to point to the like the roots, I guess you can see, of like the cherry blossom tree that he has on his like shoulder. And then like kind of like lets that go and then like points to and then pulls his collar back to one side where it kind of the branches crest up onto his neck almost. He's like, yeah, got a spell put to help though. No, I'm trying to get faster. I've been doing a bit of trading with Caius' help, so yeah, try to work on that. Thank you. That's very kind of you to
Damn,
say.
yeah, that was really impressive. You're
Thank
getting
you.
quite good on the field there.
Yeah, no, thank you. I haven't had much time to practice it. It was good to show off at the school, but like, apart from that, it's been, yeah, no, thanks. I'm glad I could help. That's the most
No,
important
you're doing
thing.
well. Oh, wait, so have you been doing your own training at Caius' school?
Caius has a school?
Oh, well, I've been, what?
Yeah. He's like teaching people to fight and stuff.
Yeah. Huh? Hang on. And he looks like at Ross, and turns his head to one side, and then kind of looks at Caius, and then just like, the blush goes away, and he kind of like looks down at his food again, and his ears flick back more.
So Caius has got like half a bit of meat just sort of hanging out of his mouth. He's like, and he just sort of takes it out and puts it back on his plate. And he goes, yes, sorry, I forgot to bring that up. I have just be better people and fight and do stuff. And Bertie helps sometimes, and he's very good. He's very good with the children.
And he blushes again, and kind of like nods awkwardly, but does not look up.
Oh, how long have you had the school? Ross purposely shifts her eyes to flat red so Caius cannot tell she's looking between him and Bertie, like feverishly.
A few months. It's just in an old hall in Durham. It wasn't really being used for anything else, so I, thought I could do something like this to pass a bit of time. There's something else to do, so I bought the hall and a couple of teachers, and most days of the week they have classes.
And you and Bertie help out, yeah.
Yes.
Well, how long have you known Rook? Why aren't you teaching there?
I only learned the other day when Caius had to stop by to let them know that he was going away for a while.
Literally this morning.
Literally today?
Yeah.
Yeah, just this morning.
It's been a long day, to be fair.
Yeah, time zones.
Anya sort of lets out a gasp, just a little one, and then she's like, "Oh, I thought when you all were talking about the children that you were talking about, God, what's Caius's normal horse called again?
Fredwood.
That you were talking about Fredwood and fuck.
Theodore?
No, Laura.
Oh,
what's her
Mulesley.
name?
My God, that's hilarious.
That you were talking about. This makes a lot more sense. I was very confused about the things you were saying the children had done.
Yeah, I probably should have been clearer.
I'm sorry for overhearing. But to be fair, I have been living at Bertie's house for the past 12 months.
Yeah, till you find your feet.
Yes, right. The feet that I do not have.
Right. Well, along this vein, Caius, how long have you been able to turn invisible?
That is also a fairly new thing. I wanted to, well, I mean, since everything happened, the year before, fighting gods and generally angry people. And there are a few instances where there was magical effects that were cast on myself that made me do things that I otherwise would not want to do. So I decided to try and find ways to fix that and stop that happening in the future, which is, why I changed armors and why I can now turn invisible as well.
Right. Well, that's very good of you. Sorry, so the armor can turn you invisible?
Oh no, the armor's completely different. That just helps me to not hopefully have other people fiddling with my head. I haven't properly tested that yet, but I've been told that it definitely works, and I hope it does because I paid a lot of money for it. No, the invisibility, that's the tattoo that I have on my back.
What? You're... Sorry, Zoe needs a second.
Sam pipes up. I was going to comment on how handy the fact that armor is mithril will be to the stealth mission, but this is much more interesting.
Oh yes, no, that helps as well. I no longer... Oh, listen to this! And I sort of jump, and I don't make armor noises.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like... But nowhere near
as
as...
I jump. But
yeah, but from the armor
no
itself,
armor.
there's a little bit of like a kind of tinny... but not the ching 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 that there would be before.
Ross is looking directly at Bertie.
Bertie, again, like, is looking at people's, like, looks of confusion, is like, huh. Like, he looks at Rook. Does Rook look surprised?
Yeah.
He then, like, he looks at... He, like, sweeps over at people, then looks at Rook, sees that she's surprised, and is like... And his, like, ears flick straight up. But he then just, like... Just makes, like, some, like, incredulous look, and then, like, looks straight back down at the food he hasn't touched, and then just kind of, like, starts steepling his fingers, like, contemplating something.
Ross looks back at Caius. When? I thought you hated needles.
oh, I do. I still do. Arguably, I think I hate them more now. I'm not a fan at all. I do not want to get another one. I was not okay at all for the whole thing.
Yeah, no, magical tattoos take a while.
They take a very long time.
Yeah.
Yes. No. There was a period where I lost track of time because they gave me something that they said just sort of take a little bit of a bite of this and it'll stop with the pain. So I ate the whole thing and then I don't know what happened.
Yep, that lasted a long time.
Right.
But at least it worked.
Yeah, that's quite the useful acquisition. What design did you decide on?
Well, I mean, I can probably just show you. I think that would be easier to explain. I'll be honest, I haven't seen it in a while, so some of the details are a little bit blurry. Yes, okay. And Caius is going to take a quick look around the perimeter. Are we currently being attacked?
Roll me a perception check.
All right.
As he does that, Anya's gonna lean across to Rook and she'll just be like, help me see this one?
Of course.
That is an 8.
An 8. You're not sure. There's nothing in sight, though.
I am confident. I will attempt to remove my back plate.
Okay.
And as he does so, and sort of lifts up the undershirt that he has, for those of you who have seen, or mainly for Bertie and Ross, I think are the only ones who have seen Caius's scar. If you look very closely, it is still there, but there is a large tattoo which is covering it. And the tattoo is the base of what seems like an ocean, and breaching the surface is a giant phoenix coming up through the ocean towards the ceiling. And one of the wings is where the tattoo is. One of the wings is where the scar is, sorry.
Yes, we could describe this to Anya and to like say, like what colours it is and such as well.
I need to double check, but I think it's a blue phoenix as well.
Nice. It's like a blue phoenix coming out.
Bertie
of the
does
ocean.
sneak his eyes
Scar or
towards
something.
Caius when he does this, and then looks back down at his meal, but he does not look surprised.
It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I'd hoped it was.
Did you design it yourself?
Sort of. I did a couple of drawings of it. They weren't great drawings, but I just sort of gave a bit of an idea on what I wanted to the artist. And work as well, just with a couple of ideas that I had sort of rolling around, which I thought was fair because, he was there when that happened as well, so.
I figured. No, it's beautiful, Caius. It's wonderful work. If you're only going to have one, it might as well be a showstopper.
Well, definitely is only going to be one. Yes.
Yep. Ross, doesn't within, and almost without thinking, she turns and looks straight at Sam and goes, "So have you got any tattoos I need to know about?" That evil little DM face. That evil little
There's a look on... Actually, roll me an insight check.
Okay. That's a 11.
Okay, that's probably enough. Because he's not necessarily trying to hide it actively. Like, there's a look on his face that is like a momentary, do I make this joke or don't I? Before, like, he clearly decides not to make the joke. He says, no, I do not have any tattoos.
Right. Okay then. You could put your shirt on now, Caius, it's a beautiful piece.
Oh, yes.
Glad you and Bertie got to spend all that time together with that design. I'm sure it means a lot to you. It's wonderful.
Well, I mean, I think it probably means a lot to both of us because we were both on the back of that phoenix. So, I mean, it makes sense, for it to be remembered because that was such a, what was the word? Formative?
Yeah, that's probably the right
That's
word.
it. Yes. No. Formative part of my year, and it's where we got Theodore as well. So makes sense.
Ross just puts her head in her hands.
And it looks very nice.
It does.
Caius is going to put his back plate back on.
All right. Is there anything else people want to cover before bed?
Very, very quickly, after dinner, like while Bertie's doing his watch, Ross is just gonna go up to him, sneak. I assume, are we all sleeping outside or are we sleeping in Newman's workshop? I assume we're sleeping in Newman's workshop and Bertie's sitting out the front.
Newman did invite, but I can't remember if the reception was.
I mean, Ross is sleeping in the workshop, so.
Yeah.
I think everyone was pretty fine with sleeping in the workshop.
Yeah.
I think I said I put up a tent, so maybe Rook is in a tent outside or inside the workshop.
A tent inside the workshop, absolutely.
Tent inside the workshop. So Ross is gonna sneak out of the little workshop and just crouch down next to Bertie and just kind of lean her shoulder against his and be like, not a great day.
So Bertie would have been probably sitting with his knees drawn up to his chest. He's kind of got his sword within reach. And he sort of had his spell book open and was kind of drawing something, I guess. But when Ross approached, his little ear, one of his ears would prick up and kind of swivel because at least Bertie has slightly little rabbity ears. And then so very alert regardless, and he would have closed that and he had a little box next to him, and then he would have kind of put his book down. Actually, for listeners, I believe, I don't think it's been mentioned in the podcast yet. Dubby, you can tell me if I'm remembering incorrectly. Bertie's spellbook no longer has little veins all over it.
No,
it's more
it
like a
does
regular
not.
book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool little visual thing. So he's kind of.
I think the cover itself is still black, but there's now a kind of almost where the pages once looked kind of ashen. I think they probably now look almost frosted over on the edges.
Yeah. And he kind of so we put that there. So by the time Ross gets there, he's just kind of sitting there with his knees wrapped around his arms wrapped around his knees. So when she does that, he kind of tenses a little bit, but then kind of lets out a very long sigh. It's yep. For you too, I'm guessing. For everyone, I suppose.
Long day.
Very long day.
I'm not gonna patronize you by asking if you're doing okay.
Well, then I won't do the same to you. But yeah, you have you got a plan, I guess, for what you want to do tomorrow?
Tomorrow, not so much.
Yeah.
Trek through the wilds, try and get out as fast as we can.
Yeah.
I don't know these woods very well, but I grew up here. I know some of what it can do.
Yeah. And
then
Anya's
once
good
you're
at
out-
tracking, and I think Rook mentioned that she's been through here somewhere before, so that some things must look the same at least. Even
Yeah.
if she ain't been this way.
And you and Caius have been to a whole other plane of existence, so
Yep.
Because we have a lot of survival tactics between us.
I don't know. I wasn't very useful when I went there, but yeah, no. Improvising is good.
I mean,
Anya said that we'll be able to improvise. We've been through bad shit like this before, but we kind of know a bit more about what we're doing this time. So even if it's bad, we'll get it sorted.
Yeah. And I have ideas for what we can do when we're on the other side.
Good.
And it'll be good.
Cool. Good.
Yeah.
It'll be good. Yeah. And we'll just have to see how we go with magic and yeah. How are you feeling about Sam right now? Being here in the party. Must feel bad considering the things
Look.
last night. And everything.
I don't feel bad for the reasons I think everyone assumes I would feel bad.
Yeah?
She kind of looks at a point just beyond Bertie's left shoulder, and she says, I may or may not have kissed him on your couch, and then like 4 hours later told him I loved him, but also that we shouldn't be in a relationship, so... that.
Hang on, Rivari. You told him
Yes?
you loved him 4
Bertolt?
hours later. I know you kissed him on my couch, but 4 hours later was after the... Rivari? Tell.
Well, you have had to deal with a lot of me this past year, and you've had to deal with a lot of me talking about Sam in the past year.
Oh, it's fine. I talk about Kai's clothes literally constantly, so it's no problem.
And I know you've been trying to be gentle with me about it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Something about last night. I found out about the modified memory, and everyone lost it. And
Well, it wasn't good.
like, I wasn't mad about that or anything. I just realized I was upset at the idea that maybe he'd only come back to make sure the mission went well. And how the idea that really sucked.
No.
And it made me upset. And I
can
realized that I don't want to be conditional with him.
I think that's
At
good.
maybe the exact worst possible moment.
Yeah, you
So-
like... What's the dealio then? Like, you told him you loved him. What did he do?
Looked
Did he go, oh!
shocked.
Oh, no.
No, he did. He looked shocked and a bit sad, and then had a very extended and lovely metaphor for giving me his heart via brooch. And
Okay.
Yep. So I then reaffirmed that it can't work and left.
Because...
So frankly, he's taking things very well, all things considered.
Okay. All right, just hang on. So, you told him you loved him, but you can't be together. Okay.
Yep.
But this is kind of the moment that you've realized that you do like him, but you want him to not be as, like, professional. Because to be fair, I get it's a coping mechanism. He's trying to be very professional here, but it's not working very many wonders for many of the people here in this party. So that's a complicated place to be. So, and it was the breakup thing was entirely because of the modified memory thing.
No, it's well, a little. While we're both still doing this,
Yeah.
this is a lot to admit. If it came down to it, I know either of us would choose the mission over each other.
But he
can't
like
do
kind
that.
of turns to Ross because she's been sitting at his side and kind of like I guess like he swings an arm around her and then like turns to her like so he's kind of because he's short he's like kind of propping his chin up on her shoulder. He's like, so you've kind of started to think he's the same as you, guess, and that's why you're worried.
We're too similar for it not for me to think any other way.
It's really rough.
Yeah.
Not a good Ross feelings to kind of come out. I guess that's why stress does that to you. That's tough though. You still kissed him. What was it like?
Yeah,
On my couch. He had
look,
lipstick stains all over him. The second
Yeah,
I walked
look-
in, I could tell. And then Brooke said that thing. My gosh.
Well, it seemed right at the time. It was very scratchy.
I can imagine.
Yeah, he.
Well, that's probably what kissing Caius would be like. like all the facial hair. My gosh. You're not-
I mean,
that
I don't
was your
think about
first
that, but if you
kiss.
want to talk about it, so it was.
Well, interesting. That
Yeah.
leaves you in a strange situation. Then. You told Sam you loved him.
Well, you told Caius you loved him.
Yeah, but that's different.
How?
He said "oh" a lot,
And then asked you on a date.
which I can't go on now because we're on a mission.
Well, I don't know. We've got a lot of time in the wilds, probably. I'm sure I can, I don't know, peel some almonds, make a plate. I don't know.
I don't know, and like he doesn't even. I made him upset earlier today. I don't know, but Anya said I should stop beating myself up. So I don't know. I got a plan, actually. Maybe you can help with that, but we'll. I don't know. We'll see. So cool. My God, Ross, you just admitted to me that you both admitted it. Like we've raised the elephant in the room that you did kiss Sam. You admitted to me that you love him. You're never gonna hear the end of this, Ross. Rivari, darling.
I know. Look, honestly, I was really like for the 10 minutes in between us kissing and everyone coming into the room, I did realize that everyone was going to know and everyone was going to probably razz me to the end of my life about it. But then the everything else happened, so
Oh, don't worry.
honestly, at this point, I'd prefer getting razzed.
I mean, if you want that, that could definitely be arranged.
Am I going to regret saying that, Bertie?
Well, obviously, but that's most things you tell, the most juicy gossip you tell me. The truth
Yeah,
thing
fair.
is if Newman ever discovers that you're comfortable enough with that, you will never hear the end of it.
We can't tell Newman.
No. Well, we can try not to, but, what do you reckon the thing that would make things easier, since you've kind of realized you see a bit of yourself in him, and that's hard when you don't think you can be together right now? If we try and make sure that, like, I'll say this now, I don't still feel 100% comfortable having Sam here. Rook reacted pretty badly. We need to try and get him to be, like, more chill with people, but, like, not in a weird way, like, just try and, like, not be all business, because that would also be helpful for you personally. But, like, good for the party, I think, while we're all stressed about this, because that's adding to it, and adding to your problems, and that's not good.
I know. He was always shy.
Yeah.
And 5 years with the wizards, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe he'll
We'll
get
see.
better. I
Yeah.
think.
We'll see. And if you ever need to talk to me about it, like, we've been through so much shit, there's not been much time, but if you need to talk to me about it, I'm happy to talk about it.
My same to you, Bertie. And
Well, we'll see.
whatever you did to upset Caius, the school, the phoenix, the tattoo, the armor, you've probably been to his house even, so...
Bertie's ears flick up, he looks like he's about to say something, and then he's like, you haven't?
No, he keeps telling me it's not done.
Like, something, like, passes across Bertie's face, he's like, not done. Like,
Yeah.
like the garden's not done. Like, you know, he's working on something. He's always working on that. He's got so many little projects running along.
He told me that the house isn't ready for people to come over. But from what we learned tonight, I can assume that to Caius, you are not most people.
No. I've been over to his house a lot. I don't know if I should be sharing that now. I mean, I haven't mentioned it, but, you know, that's because it just feels different being over. It's a beautiful house. He must have invited Newman over that, surely. Maybe it's, you come like, you can come when you can, so, and like, you guys have like met up in town and stuff like that. He's mentioned that, so, you know, you mentioned that, so maybe he just hasn't had the time.
Newman's never mentioned going to his house to me.
But
If Rook didn't know about the school until this morning...
Rook didn't know about the school. Why did Rook not know about the school?
I don't know. Caius is
They're
a
like
mystery.
bros. Why do I know about it?
I'm just saying, Bertie.
We spend a lot of time together, but like I don't want to assume that I'm an exclusive friend to him and that I know everything that he knows because he just tells me all the time. But like I wouldn't. You haven't been to his house.
Never even once.
Okay. Meanwhile, in the workshop, Sam is gonna try to get both Newman and Caius's attention.
It'll be quick because Newman's going to sleep.
This
Caius was also going to sleep.
Yeah, this is very quick. This is an extra dimensional space, right, Newman?
Oh, if he's about to make me as a player feel stupid. Oh, yeah, absolutely is.
I have a hypothesis I want to test. If it's all right by you, Caius.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Newman just stops him. He goes, if this is like a extra dimensional space in a dimensional space, do not.
No.
That is a recipe for disaster.
I am aware of that. The reason I'm asking Caius is because my hypothesis is that, in theory, we're not in the Warding Wilds right now. From a surroundings, metaphysical, magical point of view. I'm guessing through this hypothesis that we may be able to cast spells unimpeded from the wild magic in here. So the reason I'm asking you, Caius, is that I would like to ask your permission to test that hypothesis, considering how uncomfortable you are with wild magic.
Oh boy. Well, that all makes your hypotenuse makes sense, I think. And Caius is going to look over at Newman for like clarification. Like, does it make sense?
Yeah, actually, it does make a lot of sense. I was actually gonna try and do this in the morning, actually, just with something quite small, low risk. But yeah, it technically does.
Okay.
I trust it.
Right.
See, I was going to go high risk. Simply because I have those reserves left, and I think going the high risk route means that we can be more certain with less experimentation.
I was just going because I know that when I casted my spells early today, I felt strange.
Yes, and
So I was just going to try something mundane and quite small to see if I still felt that.
Perhaps we should start with something small, and maybe in a corner, further away.
All right.
You're right, guys.
You're still. No, that might be a bit much for you. I was going to suggest a cure wounds on you, but that might be a bit much. All right. And Sam's gonna go to like the furthest corner he can get from everyone else. All right.
Caius has got his shield out
Low risk, shield of
in
faith.
front of him.
And you see these are familiar gestures to you, Caius, because you know this spell. And there's a shimmer around him of the shield of faith. There's no resultant wild magic.
All right. That looks like it's worked. Can I ask a favor now?
You can ask it.
What happens when you step out?
Okay, so he goes to step out, and there seems to be no pull on the magic from out here. I think it's... And, like, Ross and Bertie, at this point, you two probably see Sam just step out with a shimmering glow about him, just looking around. You're not quite sure what he's doing. But if you could see if you're in a spot where you can see his face, there's like an inquisitive, determined look on his face as he steps back in. There's no pull on the magic out there. I think the wild magic is at the moment of casting.
Newman turns to Caius and goes, high risk?
I mean, if there was definitely no effect, I guess we tested if you're comfortable.
Okay.
This is more about whether or not you're comfortable, Caius.
Well, thank you. I think if you didn't experience anything with the first spell, then we should give it a go.
All right.
In a safe environment.
All right. And Sam's going to step into the same corner and make a few arcane, arcane gestures again. And he disappears. And you hear his...
Oh my god, he's killed him!
And you hear his voice coming from nowhere. I take it from that I am successfully invisible.
I was not afraid at all.
Yes. So it seems.
All right, and still no pull on my magic.
So I guess going forward, and we should let the others know that if they have any long-term magical spells that need to be casted, it best be done of a morning before we set out.
Yeah. Or if we need to take a rest to heal, maybe slap the workshop up on a tree somewhere. And
I mean, it's quite delicate. I wouldn't slap it, but I get
you
your
know
point.
what I mean.
All right. Well, no, this is good. We'll let the others know as well.
Sam reappears.
But probably in the morning.
Yes.
You're all quite loud. It's fine. I know at least.
I was just gonna ask
Go
where is
to
everyone?
bed.
All right.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, and yeah, with that, Newman tucks himself into a very, very snugly bedroll. And what do you mean?
I mean, the bedroll itself is probably comfy, yeah, but you're in a workshop.
Yes, and Newman finds that as a very comfortable environment.
He's a little kitty
It's subjective.
going under the covers.
It is 10,000% not the first time he has slept in this work.
Yes.
Oh god.
And that will come into consideration.
All right, yeah. So Newman's comfy and asleep,
Okay.
hoping he wakes up in the morning without any events happening over the night.
All right. So, were there any last things that people wanted to do?
Yep. So I suppose Ross said that last thing, and then Sam pokes his head out, glowing, and then goes back into the room. He's like, "That was weird. He is very pretty. I'll give you that, though. I can understand why."
Thank you. I'd never let myself consider it, but yeah, he really is.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how things go when things are a bit calmer. But I can understand it must feel weird for you.
Yeah.
And thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Whatever you did, Bertie, from what I heard tonight, it doesn't matter.
I know.
Caius cares about you
I know.
more than anything else.
Care about each other. Well, Ross, can you help me? I don't know what.
Yes?
Okay. He lets go of Ross and picks up a little box next to him. And he stands up. He's like, "Can you give this to Caius?"
Absolutely, I can.
And Ross would probably recognize it's kind of like a box that Bertie's shop uses to package larger items in, that he must have had in his backpack. Ross would probably deduce. And it's a fairly sizable box. And the words "sorry" are painted quite poorly in pink ink on the side. You give that for him and say it's from me. Because whenever presents are given to him and I say it's not for me, things go astronomically bad, as we've discussed many times before. So, yeah.
I will give this to Caius.
Awesome. I'll keep watch. Tell Anya to just to come out whenever she's had a rest.
Yeah. Good night, Bertie.
Good night. Sleep well. I'll take care of everything. But it kind of draws out his sword and just kind of tries to do a dashing pose, and then kind of just shrugs. Is like, "Well, I tried," and then sort of turns to keep looking out at the clearing.
Ross is going to give him a little kiss on the top of the head before she goes back inside.
Oh, Bertie blushes, but he looks very pleased, in a fond way.
She will go inside and go. Kai's probably just finished falling asleep. She's gonna crouch down next to him and she's gonna go, "Caius! Caius?
Hello?
This is from Bertie.
What is?
This package that says sorry on it."
Oh. Okay.
He wanted me to give it to you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
For goodness sake, can you all please go to sleep? I have watch in not very long.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Good night.
Caius is gonna, as quietly as he possibly can, crack open the box.
Roll me
you
a
immediately
stealth
die.
check. Roll me a stealth check to not disturb Anya.
Does it matter?
That's unusually high for Caius.
I mean-
That is a 13.
13. Like, it's very quiet, so I would say that, like,
Anya doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
About
I've got a dirty 20 and she's
it's
just like,
probably gauged that he's
Yeah.
attempting to be
Yeah.
quiet.
Like when you open a door very slowly and the creak just goes longer. It's one of those.
like
Rook wraps her like fibre blanket like even more tightly around her head.
Like, as Caius opens it, there's a brief pause and he just goes, like a mouse. And then looks in the box.
That's incredible. So there's a few things in the box. On top of it, though, is what's clearly a torn out page from Bertie's book, which has a very short note, which is short for Bertie in any case, in pink ink again, which reads, it's written in like very like big, simple letters as well. That Bertie has probably tried to like has probably learned this is the best way that Caius can like focus on the words. And it says, "Hi Caius, I'm sorry for the magic thing before. I wasn't thinking and it was bad. I'm sorry for hurting you. I didn't mean it, especially when you were already feeling a lot of things about Ravenna and everything and telling me you felt bad. You're right about how things have been gone so far. It's been shit, and it's normal to feel shit about it. And I know you want to go back, and we will soon. For now, I tried to make something that might make you think of home in a good way, or hopefully at least cheer you up better than I can with words. Don't worry, I didn't use magic. I used the other thing. I've been watching out real careful, and I'll keep everyone safe. Sorry again, and thanks for being my friend, Bertie." So that's what the letter says. And if Caius looks inside the box, there are two things. So firstly, there's like a strangely, like it doesn't look completely natural, but a strangely wobbly flower. Not an uncanny smile, it's instead like a purple hibiscus. So in full bloom, even though it's in night, which to Caius he might remember is a flower he grew from seedlings one time and immediately ran all the way to Bertie's house to show him so they could experience like the brief time that they bloomed together. And there's also what mostly looks like a stuffed toy. So it's roughly the size and shape of a watermelon. It's kind of in that same weird wobbly like way the flower is. But it's clearly meant to look like a bee or Bertie's approximation of one. The toy has an extra scrap of parchment pinned to it, which reads, "I was trying to think of Martha or maybe Frank. I'm sure they're safe and we're doing the best we can now to keep it that way. I believe it." Smiley face.
Caius is just gonna sort of look at it. Is the toy like a soft sort of a toy?
Yeah, like a stuffed toy. Yeah,
Okay.
It's like fuzzy if you touch it.
So Caius is gonna look at both of these things, and sort of there's a bit of a pause, and then he just sort of nods a couple of times to himself. He's going to put the note and the flower back in the box, which he's going to very slowly and quietly creak shut, and just put it next to his pillow, or whatever he's using as a pillow, which is probably like a piece of cast iron or something or other. And Caius will just sort of pull the blanket up over himself and just sort of curl up into a ball with the little bee toy.
Dobby, can the toy squeak when Caius holds it?
yeah.
Yeah.
No one's getting any sleep.
Anya lets out a very gentle sigh.
And as everyone except for Bertie, who's on watch, goes to sleep, that's where we're going to end it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
I think it's going to get to the point where Darby's just going to be like, guys, we're not starting the podcast until you all like Sam, okay? Let's go around the table. He's going to give us like a AAA meeting, like, you're not leaving. We're not starting.
It's like, dude, we understand, but also it's been a day.
He'll be like,
since we've
why?
come to the party.
He's done nothing bad for you, except the...
He's done nothing good.
Poor Sam.
I love like
Everyone's just
talking
like, you
about it
can't
as well.
sit with us, actually, Sam.
Yeah. You'd be cool to sit at this table.
Ross is just like, I don't know what to think about Sam. Ross like turns to like walk towards Sam and he's like, you better not. Do not.
Anya just starts playing Dua Lipa's New Rules at like ear-splitting volume.
Oh my god.